Today's guest is not only incredible, but also our first ever female guest, a milestone that we are thrilled about. She currently works at Google, driving partnerships for Google Maps, Waze, and Google Earth across North America. Gaining experience at major companies like Viacom, Hulu, Microsoft, and now you're thriving as a strategic partner manager at Google. So, looking back, what do you think was the pivotal moment or a key decision that truly shaped your career journey? If every woman on the earth had your attention for the next 10 seconds, what's your mic drop advice?
I think I would say ask the question and wear the outfit.
Wow.
Living in alignment with, okay, I know that about me. I know that will make me most fulfilled. So really having conversations with myself and being honest of like, what are my strengths and what are my interests?
Hello everyone. This is Rohan Niranjan Kalpavruksha. This is Roshan Niranjan Kalpavruksha. We welcome you all to our very new venture, the Twin Podcast. This is our very first series, which is going to have 5 great episodes featuring incredible guests from various walks of life. We'll dive deep into the intersection of tech, business, career growth, and life balance. Our guests will engage in insightful conversations and share their valuable takeaways. We also have some fun-filled, exciting sessions planned up, including rapid-fire questions and reactions to trending tech news. We're excited to kick off this journey with all your love and support. So let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome to a very special episode of the Twin Podcast. Today's guest is not only incredible, but also our first ever female guest, a milestone that we are thrilled about. Joining us today is Lolita Tiwari, a dynamic force in the world of global product partnerships. She currently works at Google, driving partnerships for Google Maps, Waze, and Google Earth across North America. Her journey has been anything but ordinary, from graduating at Pace University to holding key roles at big firms like Viacom, Hulu, and Microsoft. She has built a powerhouse career rooted in strategic decision making at Google. With over 9 plus years of experience, she is known for optimizing digital operations and aligning teams with empathy and efficiency. In today's episode, we'll dive into the pivotal moments that truly shaped her career journey and a lot more to get to know the person behind the powerhouse. So Lola, thank you so much for agreeing to do this podcast with the two of us. Ron and I are truly thrilled to have you on board. So how are you? How's your day started?
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Your intro got me excited. I'm like, wow, sounds like a great person, a great conversation. Thank you for your kind words. My day's going great and I'm excited for our conversation today. How are you doing?
We are doing good too. Thank you so much. Ron and I are also equally thrilled to do this podcast.
Woohoo! Let's get to it.
So to get started with our first question, you have come a long way, all the way from graduating at Pace University to gaining experience at major companies like Viacom, Hulu, Microsoft, and now you're thriving as a strategic partner manager at Google. So looking back, what do you think was the pivotal moment or a key decision that truly shaped your career journey?
That is a great first question. I think something that I've had a self-reflection moment during undergrad was a key in helping me make each decision throughout my career. So I studied economics and stats for undergrad, and I realized that I wanted to problem solve and solve different problems all the time. So I knew for me personally, something like finance or accounting that were, in my perspective, kind of repetitive, or there are going to be ebbs and flows. I knew that that probably wasn't my world. So when I learned about economics and learning, okay, there are micro problems, there are macro problems, and that's something that keeps me excited. Living in alignment with, okay, I know that about me. I know that will make me most fulfilled. So really having conversations with myself and being honest of like, what are my strengths and what are my interests? So every time I've looked to make a change with either within a company or to a new company, I've thought of the same thing. Am I still enjoying the problems that I solve? Do I feel connected to them? And staying true to myself. So every role that I've had, I felt like I was excited about and I could contribute to.
That's nice. Thank you for highlighting how staying true to ourselves is so important. Okay.
Definitely. And then I think it shows up if you aren't, right? Whether in jobs or hobbies, even in life things such as relationships sometimes, right? If you're like, oh, I think I should join this club or this XYZ because these people seem cool. But then you get there and you're like, actually, this is nice, but I don't connect to it. I think it's really important to listen to yourself when moments like that come up so you can continue to live in alignment with what's best for you.
Thank you for letting us know.
Of course.
Okay. So my next question. So your LinkedIn bio mentions that you build bridges between interdisciplinary teams with empathy and efficiency. This is something that caught my eyes. So could you please share an example of how this empathy and efficiency complement each other and how this plays a crucial role in your work environment?
So empathy and efficiency are different words. I think one can be a soft skill and one can be a hard skill, just for the purpose of this example. And a recent situation where I think both played into each other that I can share. So, in the role of partnerships, our team works with external companies and external groups. So, when you think of that, right, like we have our OKRs, we have our goals, but so does the other people from the other company, the other somewhere else. So it doesn't matter that they're getting an email from someone who works where I work, right, at Google in this moment, in this case, because what my priorities are to solve are not theirs. So sometimes you will hit roadblocks or someone will say, hi, Lola, I'm really excited to work on this thing, but it's not in my top 3 priorities. Like, I can't hit this 1 month deadline or 6 month deadline, whatever it is. And I think where empathy comes in is, one, you have to acknowledge that you can't live in a world where you're like, these are my goals, this is what I have to do, and think that you will be a good person to work with, because I don't think that's the case. So saying, okay, I understand. Could you share some of your priorities with me so that I can understand how this project leaps into that, or how something we're doing on our roadmap helps you solve what you need to solve, so you can kind of balance, you can share, you can adjust. So the other team, the other person is also working towards their OKRs, you're working towards yours, but you're still being efficient of, okay, maybe we couldn't move this thing along at this time, but we're still working on larger goals. And at the end of the day, business is done with people, right? Like we have AI, we have all these things, but it's still human to human who are driving these things forward. And I believe both in work and in life, like if you're not human, it will show. And it's I don't think it's the right way to live. I think kindness and thoughtfulness is very important. So definitely we all have an efficient mindset. We have these goals, we have these deadlines, but remembering that we're working with other humans too, I think goes a long way.
That's absolutely perfect. I definitely believe empathy is something that every human being needs to have in every point of life.
I agree. Thanks.
So, to get to our next question, what advice would you give to early career professionals who's trying to find a balance between either following their passion or trying to make a financially sound career choices? So there's always a way whether should I follow my passion or should I make a financially sound career. So how do you think people should approach this thought process?
My answer is always try to do both. And I acknowledge that's not easy. So an example that that didn't come to life but is like very rooted in this, I remember when I was an undergrad and with my classmates we were talking like, oh, what's everyone's dream job? And I said, like, as a joke, I was like, well, I really like ice cream. And anyone who knows me knows that's like in my top 5 favorite thing. And I was like, what am I going to do with ice cream? And they said, well, you're studying econ. What if you become an analyst for Haagen-Dazs or Carvel or something? And that was a moment of like, whoa, that was almost a joke, but that's true, because behind every company, every product, again, are humans, are people. So will everyone get a data job at an ice cream place? Maybe not, but I think a real world example could be if someone is passionate about puppies. saying like, I really like puppies. Anyone who knows me knows that that's something that's important to me. They have puppies, they volunteer, etc. So maybe you can say, I will look for a startup that is focused on helping puppies or animals find their home, building an app for puppies to live a life that is comfortable, or I mean, these are all examples, of course, but continuing with the imagination of stick true to what you care about, and then say like, how can I solve a problem for this thing that I care about, or how do I add to something that's already being done? So definitely want to acknowledge, I know in 2025, the job market is tough. There are so many wonderful, smart, and brilliant students going into the workforce, and I'm sure it can feel daunting or confusing, but I think it's important to hang on for the right job, because you back to what we said a few sentences ago, right? If you're not aligned, it will show. Like, you won't be excited about it. You'll just say like, you'll just look at the clock and say, okay, is it time for me to go yet? So to recap, my advice is hold on to the things you do care about and stay true to them, and be creative as well, because maybe at some point in time in another chapter of my life, I will work for an ice cream company. We will see.
Just a matter of fact, Ron and I also love ice creams.
Yes.
I think we all need to celebrate with some ice cream. I think there is never a bad day for ice cream.
Yes.
Even in the winter, I feel like I maybe even buy more ice cream in the winter. But anyway, we can do a separate podcast on ice cream habits.
Yes. Okay. So moving ahead to our next question. If you had to rank your top three skills, which is communication, leadership, and problem solving skills, in the order of importance for thriving in any industry, what would your order be and why? I'll just repeat those three skills for you again: communication, leadership, and problem solving skills.
I think, of course, I think they're all important, but I will start with problem solving, because when you are at a company, you're hired for what? If we think about it, we're hired to make our managers' lists of tasks easier. We're hired to achieve a goal. So I think having a problem solving lens will definitely, one, make everyone efficient in what they do, but also help them grow just beyond what their specific role and responsibility is. And I think the 5 people on a team can have 5 different approaches to problem solving, because seldom is every person assigned the same exact thing. So my advice would be, don't think that, oh, the person sitting next to me already knows this and what I have to say doesn't matter, because we all have different lived experiences, different interests, different strengths. So I think get creative with how you problem solve, and be vocal about it. So that's for spot number 1. Spot number 2, I would place communication, because you can be problem solving, but if you're not communicating, one, what you find or what your solutions are, then you're probably not hitting your max potential for impact. So as an example, if you are running a report every month for just like sales, you're like, okay, I know my manager asked me to run this report. Here it is. And every 5th of the month, you're like, here's the report. But I think where communication can help someone stand out is, hi, manager, here's this report. I've been calculating the rolling average, and I see that we're down 10%. So kind of back to the problem solving in the first one, you're seeing like, well, what's going on? These are just numbers, but what's the story? But I think communication drives it forward. So then you can tell your manager in a quick 1 to 2 sentence, hi, manager, this report, I've noticed in the past 6 months, we've gone up 10%, or I've seen this trend. Perhaps you've seen it in other reports, but let me know if there's anything I can do to whether identify this problem or celebrate a win, depending on what the situation is. So again, no matter what it is you are problem solving, being able to tell others about it. Because how unfortunate would it be if you're doing all these great work and you're like, oh, but I'm not making the time to tell my manager or share with my teammates. I think there could be so much lost potential if you just keep to yourself certain things. So hence communication second. And leadership, I would say third, but with a caveat. I think in the two examples, you're also being a leader there, right? And you don't need to be a manager to be a leader, in my opinion. I think a leader is someone saying, like, hey, I don't think this is right. Or, hey, I noticed this problem and it's bigger than we think. I think speaking up, coming with solutions, and just having a proactive mindset makes you a leader. So leadership is placed third, but we know that it has pieces in problem solving and communication as well.
Thank you so much. That was a very insightful answer, and I completely agree that we need to have a right balance with every single skill. And I also like the line where you said a lot about how not you need not have to be a manager to be a leader. That is something I completely agree with.
Thank you. And I feel like that makes success less daunting as well, because maybe we have a perception from whether media, movies we saw growing up or something, that a leader looks like this, right? The leader looks like someone who's sitting at this very big table with this very large team. Like, we're all leaders.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Lola, you are the first female guest that we have had on our podcast. So, this is the first time I'm asking a question on this line. So, you being a woman, have you encountered any unique challenges or restriction as a woman in this working environment, especially in your field and in a city like New York?
Yes. And first of all, thank you so much again. I feel so special to be a part of building this podcast and being the first female. So thank you again for inviting me in this special way.
This is the first time I'm asking a question on this line. So, you being a woman, have you encountered any unique challenges or restriction as a woman in this working environment, especially in your field and in a city like New York?
Yes. And first of all, thank you so much again. I feel so special to be a part of building this podcast and being the first female. So thank you again for inviting me in this special way. To the question, I think definitely a woman in tech, from what I have seen as themes in conversations with my managers or even sometimes my peers, is to take a step back from work. I think on a biological level, women sometimes, well, we definitely have a nurturing natural response. Not that males don't. Of course, males and females have their strengths, but the natural response of, oh, let me console, let me help, let me soothe. And what I've noticed sometimes is women can notice something but say, like, oh, I'm not sure if I should speak up, because you're just like absorbing and maybe you're going into nurturing mode. So it can be times in meetings where you're like, I understand this problem, I have a solution, but that person must already know the solution, right? But that's an assumption. That's like so much programming and processing that we've had in our life experience up to date of like, oh, maybe why should I even say that? So things I've been fostering, thankfully, through managers and mentors are always share if you have a thought. I think a way to build that skill is to think about the way you share. So sometimes you can say, should I share this in meeting or should I share in a follow-up? I think that helps build the voice of each person. In New York, I think it's weird because there's 8 million people in New York, but we still don't see enough representation in different ways. From my personal experience, I would love to continue to hear from others if they do think they see a wide range of representation, because I would love to join those rooms and those settings as well. But I think not seeing enough women leaders or enough women decision makers can also subconsciously make women feel like, I have this thought, but maybe it's not my place, maybe no one cares what I have to say. And again, that's back to programming. So definitely there's more work to be done. But I think through conversations like this, where people were like, I'm sharing, and I also love to listen to other women as well, because I think we all face the same challenges in different ways. So learning of like, how does someone work on sharing their thoughts and their voice, and also like building the allyship, which you're doing right now, the allyship of having a female guest and asking this question. So thank you for your thoughtfulness and your intention and kind of like closing this gap.
It was our pleasure as well. So, moving ahead, you're also an alumni committee co-chair at Pace University. So, I'm sure you would have got a chance to interact with a lot of students, recent graduates. So, me being a recent graduate myself, I can somewhere say graduation at times might feel like you're standing at the edge of a cliff and you're taking a whole new leap into the real world. So, what is that one thing you think graduates should keep in mind when they're making this leap into the real world?
I think I would say it's okay if your first job, first or second, doesn't match what your dream job idea is. So I'm at Google today, which has been my dream, but I was at 3 other companies before here, and I really enjoyed all of them. So just because you're in a place or in an opportunity where it's not like, oh, but I dreamed about that thing. One, that's okay. Two, there is value and learnings in everything. So it may not be like if someone's goal is to be an astronaut. I know that's a little off brand from our world here of tech, right? But as an example, so they won't be an astronaut right away. You have to do a few different things to build up and to train. And I've definitely seen every role and company I've been at has helped me build the skills I needed to succeed today, to be an effective partner manager to people at different companies who I partner with. Because if I'm in the world of Google, I know how Google works. But it's really helpful to work at a company that's not Google, and you get an email from the Googles or whichever else big companies, and you understand like, oh man, this person from Google wants to work on this thing, but our company really has to focus on this. And being able to say like, I was that person at times. I understand why this may not be important to that company or that team. So advice looping back to that is, if an opportunity comes your way and you are aligned with it, again, and alignment is important. Like, don't just take something because it shows up. If you are interested, if it aligns with your skill set, but it's not the astronaut job yet, if you are still interested, I think it's so important to have an open mind, and don't sell yourself short. Like we said, there's so many wonderful graduates in the market. It's extremely competitive, but everyone has their strengths, and we can all shine. I don't think one person shining takes away from another person shining.
True. And that was very insightful, and thank you for that. That brings to the end of our first round. Now we'll be moving ahead to our round two, which is called the rapid fire round, where I want you to answer in a single word or a single phrase, preferably.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so
right.
let's get started with our first question. If your career were a NYC subway line, what would be your next stop?
This is tricky that it can only be so short because I have so much to say. I think next stop would be Hudson Square. And just to give context, I think it's a cool up and coming place with work plus shopping and social. So it's a reminder of like the work-life balance. And I have to say, as a side note, as a native New Yorker, I super love this question. And I love my train line, which is the A. But anyway, sorry. Okay, speed round. Next question.
Okay. So if you could send a Slack message to your younger self at Pace University, what would it say?
I think it would be a GIF or a meme. I love to communicate via images, like when I'm texting friends or even at work when it's appropriate. So probably like a SpongeBob meme. That was like fun. And I know this is supposed to be rapid fire, but I have to give the background before anyone is confused. I think life is so serious, which it's true, and work is very serious, but you have to be humane and you have to find the humor because you're not living if you don't.
Okay, I completely agree on that. Okay. If every woman on the earth had your attention for the next 10 seconds, what's your mic drop advice?
I think I would say ask the question and wear the outfit.
Wow. That's wonderful. Okay, my next question. If you had to rename your LinkedIn headline to a movie title, what would it be?
Ugh. Um, that's such a good question. Maybe ice cream lover by night, problem solver by day.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
So, we just heard how you like memes. So, moving forward to our third round, we have a fun session for you, which is again somewhere related to memes, where we'll show you a few trendy tech memes and we want to know your reaction, how relatable you find them, what is your first thought, anything you want to talk about it, you're free to talk about it. Let
Okay.
me just share the screen, we'll get started. This is our first meme where collaboration is so much fun. There's one person who comes up with worst ideas. There's one who jokes around all the time. There's one who ends up doing all the work. There's one who doesn't do the work but takes up the credit. So I'm sure a team will have all these characters. But again, we have to collaborate at the end of the day. So, what is your thoughts? How relatable is it?
I think it makes me think of school. Because in school, right, when you have projects, maybe you don't know everyone, and situations like this do happen because maybe there's not enough work to go around for 5 people. So it makes me think of, I think, college a little bit, where your classmates are different every semester. But I'm happy to say I don't think about it for work because people are doing more work than this. But it's really funny to just remember times where maybe right now in work we're solving these complex problems, but like a few years back when we were in situations like this and life was simpler and like this was funny.
That's nice. So, this is our second meme. Google Maps 5 minutes before the turn. Google Maps, and I need to. I mean, it happens at times. Does this happen to you? How's it?
This is so funny. I love the expressions. I think it does. I recently started pressing the start on the navigation. So sometimes I would just like look at the map and say, okay, I know this. And if I'm like listening to music while I'm going somewhere, so the music is on and then the voice is on, and I'm just kind of like, oh, have to reroute. But I think what's so lovely about this is like the expressions here is like we can't express that out in public, but it's just really accurate of an internal state of being.
Yeah. So the a third meme. So of course, I read you take decisions based on data. So how far is this relatable? That should I follow the data or my instincts? What do you?
I love this. I love this because I think over time your instincts are built on data,
Okay.
right? Like when you make a decision, it's like, okay, my gut tells me to do this. And when you break it down, why? Because I've seen in the past XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. So I think this is a tricky one because at a point in time, I think they become one.
True. So this is our last meme, the mandatory meetings.
Oh
Did
no.
like this?
Well, okay. I know you didn't ask for life advice, but that's where my mind goes. It's funny, but it's also concerning, and I think this is going to be way deeper than the meme, but I think if you're at a company where you do feel this way about what they have to say, maybe you're not in the right
True.
place or thing, because even though, so Google, we have tons of meetings hearing updates from different product areas, but we're all very excited, right? Because we're like, oh, how is what that team is doing connect what I'm doing. So I know I took this a different route of advice than the meme, but it is a nice check-in of like, make sure you don't look like this meme.
Yes. So now I want you to nominate any two people, somebody whom you have met across your life, who you think would be the right choice for us to bring on our future episodes and know more about them.
Sure. So many, but the first person I would think of is my friend Dhruv, who is also a PACE alum. Dhruv is one of the smartest people I've met at PACE, and I'm lucky that we have also become friends. We're in a friend group together. He's a wonderful person. Along with myself, all of our friends, when there's like a tech problem or a miscellaneous thing, we all call Dhruv. So I think he would be a great person to share his knowledge and just like his advice of the world. And second, not planned that this is also another PACE alum, but my friend Ava, who did grad and undergrad at Seidenberg. She has a very interesting career path where she studied at Seidenberg, but now works in design. So I love seeing different examples and like me as well, where you take a kind of not super straightforward path of what you studied or maybe not predictable. So I studied econ, but a lot of my classmates went into banking or finance. And I love that Ava is an example of a different route you can take with like different tech degrees.
That's perfect. Thank you for the wonderful suggestions. We'll definitely reach out to them.
Of course. Thank you.
So with that, we come to the end of our podcast. We can't be enough thankful to you for agreeing to do this podcast and being so vulnerable, and you just spoke your heart out. So thank you so much for that. So any closing remarks? How did you enjoy the podcast? What sections did you enjoy? How did you feel? Any last words?
I did enjoy the podcast because I think every question was so different and also so thoughtful. Kudos to you both for building a platform where you are learning about others and sharing and looking to connect dots. So again, thank you so much. And I think just the meme section. I don't think I've ever done a session that included memes, and naturally from my other answer before, I think it's important to have laughter and lightness. So I think that is for me a memorable part of our conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. Bye-bye.
Likewise, thank you.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on the podcast in the comments below. Let us know what sections you enjoyed the most and what questions you have for our next guest. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment. Your support means a lot to the two of us. Signing off, Rohan Niranjan Kalpavruksha.